Hey, BATT Family, welcome back to another review. We are very excited about this one. We are talking about the game Pass. This was very kindly provided to us by Grand Gamers Guild, and we are pretty stoked about this one.
This is an amazing game.
So let's go through our regular jumble of stuff here.
Yeah.
So the gameplay of Pass. This is a standard ladder climbing card game where you're just trying to run out of cards before anybody else. And there are a couple of different ways you can handle that. One is just you get a point, move on, or you can play and based on who has how many cards left in hand, there's a scale of points given out. But essentially you're looking at a 3 to 4 round game.
Yeah.
The round is very straightforward, where depending on the amount of players, you are going to divide the deck into piles, and each player is going to have 13 cards. If you are playing with less than 5 players, you're going to remove a certain subset of the cards and then just shuffle them around. There is a number 2 start card. If nobody has that in a 2 to 3 player game, you're just going to trade out one deck with the other that has it, and you're good to go. The cards themselves are just standard card suit numbers. They rank 2 through king, and then you have the ace that mostly is going to act as a high card, but in a straight can act as the low or the high, however you need. But the trick on the game is that the cards themselves are 2 colors. They are white on one end and yellow on the other end. And the default play position of the card is the white side. When you are going to play your cards out in front of you, again, it's a standard shedding game of you're going to play a single, a pair, a trio, whatever, and you're just going to play them out. But the cards themselves are able to, with the use of a pass token, are able to flip. And so that 3 can now become a queen.
Or a pair of 3s.
Or a pair of 3s. Or there's an ace card that you have to use a token on, but it becomes a pair of aces. And you are just trying to set the amount of cards that are being used. So your scale is a single, up to a pair, up to a trio, up to a full house, and then a 4 of a kind or a 5 of a kind. And you are just playing a standard shedding game of you just want to run out of cards first. There's one other tiny little rule, which is really cool. If you play a pair of queens, for instance, and you have one of your pass tokens, instead of using it to flip the cards around to their other side, you can make it into what's called an augmented set, where now you essentially have queens plus. So now you have beaten a standard pair of queens. If somebody else has queens and they have 2 tokens they can spend to beat yours, they can, but it'll still get beaten by a regular pair of kings. So it allows you, so long as you have the tokens, to actually be able to beat that person that has the same rank as you, which happens so commonly in games like this. That's about it.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward game.
Yeah, and I think what's so neat is it's just numbers. There's no suits, so you're not sitting there worried about like hearts and diamonds. No, it's just the number. And that's what I think is so neat. And like once you get close to the center, like they're a little fiddly because like I had an 8 that gave me a 9, but I also had an 8 that gave me a 7. I had a couple that had a couple different powers, and it was just kind of, I was like, oh, it was really kind of cool. This really works for me. So yeah, there's just a couple, not a ton. Just that middle section gets a little fun and wonky.
I like that, because otherwise the 8s are never going to turn into anything.
Exactly, because an 8's going to be an 8. Yeah, so phenomenal. Anyway.
I will say, as far as learning the game, the rules are mostly there.
Yeah.
There's a couple small things, especially with the tokens, that you're like, I'm pretty sure that you can just use the tokens either side. But outside of that one little quibble, there doesn't need to be a whole lot on the rules. And so, whoever has the start 2, they start. If you have the double ace, you have to upgrade that. Otherwise, use a token, play your cards. Pretty straightforward. It is literally a pull-out, fold-out sheet that is maybe front and back page worth of stuff.
Yeah.
But even still, there's examples and images on there. So very few rules.
Yeah.
How was it to be taught and then play the game?
Well, thankfully, I am a card player. I mean, I'm from the Midwest. We play lots of cards. That's one thing we do. Older generation and whatnot, be my parents and my grandparents. But super simple. The only thing I will say is confusing, because I have played games that are similar to this. The one rule is so if I decide as the leader, I just play a single 4, that is the only thing that is played. You can't sit there and go, oh, well, I'm now going to play
Pair of fours.
a pair of fours. Nope, can't do that. We are just dealing with the single card itself. So you have to...
Unless you beat it with a 4 or 5 of a kind. That's the only way around it.
4 or 5 of a kind is the only way that it beats anything. But those are rare. You have to really work at those. So, yeah, I really dug it. I thought it was super easy to teach. I was ready to go once we got going.
Yeah. There's not much else to say about that. It provides some really interesting thinkiness of, okay, so if I do this, I know I'm probably going to pass, so I'll get an extra token. If I get an extra token, and maybe I can steal the lead for the next hand, and then 2 hands from now, I can flip all these and bam, there's my 5 of a kind. There's some really interesting stuff that goes on there.
Yeah. Well, heck, the one hand I sat there, I was like, man, if I can just get the lead, I'm sitting here holding a straight jack high.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be a really hard thing to beat unless one of these guys has a 4 or 5 of a kind. But then again, we were several hands in, so we had already started shedding cards. Like, we were losing cards, and I still was holding on to this, and I just so happened I was able to get a solid pair out that won me the lead, that I was able to play my straight, which kept the lead, where I was able to play my pair. And once my last 2 cards were out of my hand, that's it.
Yeah. Let's get into the production side of this.
Yeah.
I think the tokens are...
The tokens are a womp-womp, but the cards are very nice.
Yeah, the cards are great. They have a really nice feel to them. They're not plastic, they're not linen, but they are a nice weight. They do feel like they're going to hold up. The cards themselves are indexed in every corner, which is great, but there is a little bit of an odd thing because it's telling you the number it can turn into as well. So when you're looking at it at the index on one side of the card, because you're left-handed versus right-handed, you're going to hold your cards differently. You are actually going to be seeing different numbers in the corners, and what it transforms into or from is in a different color. So it can be a little weird to read, but we didn't have any issue with it. Our friends didn't have any issue with it. The yellow and the white are very bold, but I think that's the only thing on them that could be slightly like, okay, confusing. We're nitpicking here.
Yeah, the nitpick is I would rather it not be yellow. I would much rather it be like green or a blue or like a stronger, deeper color so that it has a deeper contrast. So like an individual who happens to be colorblind, some people that can't see yellow,
they're going to see white on this.
They're going to see white.
It's
going to be a lot of white. So yeah, like I would almost rather it be like one of those other colors that in the darker tone, it's more friendly.
And I mean, there's an argument certainly that you could just keep this black and white, but I appreciate the fact that they tried to do something.
Yes, like the design that's on the card. So like Mark was saying, the top of the card is white, the bottom of the card is yellow. And then there's this really nice sharp zigzag where the 2 colors are blending together, which it's really neat. It's got a very nice, simple design. I think it's perfect for the design. I just would rather have a different color.
Yeah.
But that's nitpicking.
We're nitpicking because we had a great time with this. The iconography is very straightforward. The tokens themselves, you know the one side that is chevrons is upgrade, and the side of it that is plus is essentially becoming suit plus. So it's all very readable. It's all very understandable. It is just nitpicks what we're looking at here. What did you like about the game? Because we are both card players. We have played hundreds of card games.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe thousands between us. And I really legitimately don't think that's an exaggeration.
No, it's not an exaggeration. I know what my life was like in the 80s.
Yeah, the amount of time I spent with the deck of 52 is not inconsequential.
Yeah.
What did you like?
Honestly, everything. It was a great game. Other than like the nitpicky things. Like, yes, I wish the tokens were a little better. I wish it was a different color, not yellow. Everything else about it was absolutely fantastic because, like you said, do I pass to get myself a token that I maybe can use in the future? Or do I go ahead and maybe break this up in my hand because I could potentially win the trick?
You won a hand in one of our games where you split your full house that you had because you were able to win with a pair and then drop your
and I dropped my trips.
And win.
Yeah. Actually, that won me the game. That gave me the 10th point. Well, and I like the modes. Like you could sit there and choose to play, okay, first person to win 3 hands. The only one that won hands. But I had the 3 hands. But then you could play the reverse, which is if you're the first person out, great, you score 4 points. If you have less cards than the other person, you score 2. The person who has the most amount of cards has 1. You could do that round.
The second least.
Second least. And then it's a race to 10, And
there is one variant rule that we didn't use across any of our games that is you can just spend 3 tokens to essentially become a card. It just becomes a wild card in a set. And I like the fact that option is there. It's a simple little rule, but it changes the fabric of the game pretty significantly. Like I said, we didn't get to engage with that, but we played it and we sat there and we went into this a little hesitant. And then about halfway through, we were all at the table. It's like, this is incredible.
This is a great game.
Shuffle up, we're playing again.
Yeah.
This is really, really good.
The 3 tokens turned into a wild, great. So I've had 2 hands where I've been beat. Well, now I have 3, because you get to start with 1 token. That means if I've had to
start each round with 1 token is just such a brilliant little touch.
And you don't lose your tokens.
And you're always able to interact with the gimmick of the game.
Yeah, but our buddy, he had 4 tokens. He then got a 5th token, so he was set.
And he did a lot with them.
And he did a lot with them because he was able to flip and he was able to make it a plus. And it was just like, yeah, you're not out of it just because you lose a hand. And I love that in the fact that, really good.
Anything that you think somebody might dislike about the game?
If you don't like card games, you're not going to pick this up. If you're not the type that wants that, because it is a thinky game. Like, it's not a thinky game. It's not
brain burning.
Yes, it's not brain burning.
You're making choices.
But yeah, because you have to sit there, you have to be willing to, like, I'm going to sacrifice this because hopefully that this will survive. This will do what I need it to do. And it has a very nice, unique decision space. I honestly, because of how simple it is, I don't know why a person wouldn't like it unless you just don't like card games, honestly.
So there's one big thing that I have against it, and frankly, it's a problem of this particular style of game, and that is the box says there's 2 to 5. It should read 3 to 5 because games like this just suffer at 2 players. No matter which ones I've played, if it is a card shedding game, it needs to be more than 2 people. Yeah. Even just having that one extra third person adds texture to the gameplay that is missing in a 2-player. And I think if you are a primarily duo type of player where you have your partner or a best friend or whatever, this is the wrong game for you.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that game would be a miss with just the 2 of us.
But you're at 3, you're at 4, you're at 5. Excellent.
Yeah.
My biggest knock against it is it just shouldn't say 2 on the box.
Yeah.
Just shouldn't. Any recommendations? Anything that is similar, or if you like this game or if you like those other games that you would recommend for this one?
Oh my God, there's so many countless games that I can... Now, of course, I'm not thinking of which ones I know.
So, let me say this. Yeah. There are 2 games that we talk about. Well, one game that I talk about fairly regularly, and then the other one that is newer into my gaming lexicon. If you like the game Bacon by Allplay...
You were talking about that one,
or if you like Custom Heroes from AEG. Both of those are great shedding games where, again, they each have their own unique twists on them, the way this one does, where it's just simply play your set, hope for the best. But you have one interesting wrinkle. With Bacon, you have the X cards, which can stand in for anything else, or they can increase a rank. In Custom Heroes, you're building a higher card, so I can make a pair of 14s if I want. But if you like that type of game, I think this is going to be one that you are just all about.
Yeah, this is a hard shelf type of game. This is easily an 8.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm going to come down on it as a 7, which is just outside of that shelf range for me, because this isn't always my go-to if I'm going to play a simple card game or a shedding letter, like trick-taking realm. This isn't where I want to gravitate first, but man, if somebody says we're going to play that style and we're going to play this one, I'm very excited about this one. This is very, very good.
This is a great game.
Any other notes? Final thoughts? Anything else?
This game is definitely hard to pass. Yep, I went there.
You did. I will say, because we did forget to mention it at the top, Wang Yu is the designer of this game, and Yuxin and Huang appear to be the artists. I hope I'm saying those names correctly. I do believe this game was brought over from what I believe is the Chinese market. I don't know that off the top of my head. I hope I am correct there. If I am not, I apologize. I may end up just throwing something in the episode notes in case I'm wrong. Otherwise, really very easy game to recommend. If you are a big trick taker, if you like shedders, if you like this one's real easy.
Agreed.